with us. One more thing here I'll just add from our NewsNation station here in New York, Pix 11 News down there covering it as well, that there was a note in the jury note that there are, quote, jurors that are impersuadable on both sides as to count one, Marcus. So that's kind of interesting, right? Because that's going to go back to the racketeering conspiracy. I'm going to have it on the tablet. You can pop it up if we want. But if you look at the United States versus Sean Combs, count one's a racketeering conspiracy charge, okay? So this is the one, as Misty was talking about earlier, that carries the possibility of life in prison. You see count two in sex trafficking and then the transportation to engage in prostitution. The way it breaks down, there are 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. That's how you get up to 5. So to go back to that first point on count 1, right, the most serious charge, there are jurors, as it's being reported at least in the note, that are tough to persuade on both sides. So maybe that, look at all the reporters and cameras that are there, maybe that tells you that there's going to be some work to do. But it seemed like the judge, right, as you were saying, wants them to continue that work if they can.
I think so, because I think they're so close to the finish line here. And what I'm interested to find out is if this day continues or if this goes into tomorrow and what happens next. So that first count, that's the count really everybody has been focusing on, because that is the most complicated one, that racketeering conspiracy, right, that we've been talking about. And that makes sense that the jurors inside that courtroom also struggled with that count as well. And so I think you piece together kind of the bits of information that are coming in right now at this point. I think the judge wants to persuade them to go back in and to keep talking about that particular count and try to figure out a verdict on that, because that one clearly is the one that's holding them up the most. This happens in trials here in deliberations before, and it's something the judge always kind of gives them another push, right? Sometimes they just need another bit of like, okay, we understand where you're at so far. Head back in. We know there's an issue with this particular count, but head back in and try to go over it again. Now, how much time they'll have to go over it today, I think that's a big question too. How much longer are they going to be deliberated inside? Because in the past, they've been pretty much stopping about 5 o'clock there, and that was the case yesterday. So you kind of take a look at the entire day, you see all the questions asked, and they moved pretty quickly. That was surprising to me, because they were asking questions and very detailed questions. They were asking for testimony that was extremely long in text, and that was going to take a long time to go through. So I don't know about you, Connell, but I was surprised that they made their way through all of that written testimony that they requested, those transcripts there, right?
All right, no, you're right. Marcus, thank you. You're right about that. Let me make one more point. We'll get a break. Top of the hour, we'll come back. We'll keep covering this. Maybe we'll get some more details on it. I was just looking here at the breakdown on that count 1. If you find the defendant guilty of count 1, the racketeering conspiracy charge, which types of racketeering acts do you unanimously find were involved in the offense? Because remember, this is basically saying he's running a criminal enterprise. Acts involving kidnapping, arson, bribery, witness tampering, forced labor, sex trafficking, transportation for purposes of prostitution, acts involving drug distribution. And the way it's written, if and only if you find the defendant guilty of count 1, did the pattern of racketeering activity include sex trafficking of Cassandra Ventura, Cassie. So that's the kind of way that they phrase it, because this is a very serious charge, again, in the past reserved for the likes of mobsters. So this is the breaking news on the United States versus Sean Combs. You have more, Marcus? Did you say you had more, Marcus?
Yeah, and I want to add a note here. There's a third option from the judge to accept the partial verdict. So that's an interesting third option there. I'm not sure if you've discussed that before, but that is a third note that just came in as well a minute ago. So that is a possibility, too, of just accepting this, and then we got to unravel that from there. So I think that note from my producer, Ava Pittman, inside right now just came in that is a third option. Attorneys are conferring on what to tell the jury. So both sides, again, this is what happens, right? You have the defense and the prosecution, and then these options, and then the judge. Is kind of this dance going on right now because of this one hang-up on that one count. But that is a third option right now, accept a partial verdict. So it will be very interesting to see what this decision is. We're going to stay absolutely on top of this.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.